And Konstantin Kisin himself likes to offer advice to political leaders from the outside and is unafraid to say what might be unpopular. He's a self-described politically non-binary satirist and co-hosts the free speech podcast Triggernometry.
The head of the British Army is urging the need to train up and equip a citizen army in view of a potential land war. Are we ready for World War III?
I completely agree with Bronwyn that we're in a very dangerous world, but I think the question we really should be thinking about is why are we in a dangerous world? Why does Vladimir Putin feel comfortable to invade Ukraine? Why do the Iranian regime feel comfortable to back the Hamas terrorists to attack Israel, to back the Houthis to attack our shipping? And I think the reason is we've forgotten a very basic principle of war that human beings have known for millennia, which is civis pacem parabellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. We need a strong deterrent. And I'm sorry, Alex, the nuclear deterrent is not going to be enough. We need a professional army of well-trained men and women like the British have always had. We have a rich military tradition in this country and one that we must maintain. So I don't think a citizens' army is the answer to that. We need a strong military made up of professional soldiers. It's something actually that the UK is known for around the world. If you look at the training we're, for example, giving to the Ukrainians, that's one of the biggest things, the contributions the UK has made. It's not necessarily the kit, it's the training for them to know how to use it that has made the biggest contribution. And the other thing I'll say about this, one of the things that I'm concerned about is the politicization of our armed forces. One of the stories that I think emphasized this for me recently was a very courageous woman. We don't know her name, and I actually would like to have her on my show if she wants to come on to talk about the fact that she was forced to resign from the Royal Air Force because she refused to implement the orders of her superiors to, quote, stop hiring useless white men. We are starting to introduce all these stupid ideas about diversity and all of this nonsense into an armed forces. I'm interested in an armed forces that are excellent, that are good at their job, and are good at the one thing they're supposed to do, which is kill the enemy. That's what I want.
Okay. Konstantin.
So the original question was, should Rishi Sunak be replaced with someone else to save the Conservative Party? I mean, you could dig up the corpse of Winston Churchill and reanimate it. It still wouldn't save the Conservative Party. Whenever the next election happens, the Tories are going to get what they deserve, which is a massive drubbing. They will lose lots of seats. They will lose lots of MPs, and that's because they have failed to deliver the things they promised the British people. They promised to reduce immigration to the tens of thousands. Last year it was over 600,000. They promised to crack down on illegal immigration. We currently spend £8 million a day on hotels for illegal immigrants. How many of you voted for that? All the hands go down, I'm not surprised to say.
Can I just say that more people in this audience voted for the Conservatives than any other single party in 2019. That's not to say the majority in this audience, but just as a matter of fact.
My point is,
you will have voted.
They have let down their own voter base, both here in the south and in the Red Wall in the north. The small C Conservative voters in the Red Wall are not going to vote for a party that has allowed this. They've kicked out all the people in the party or removed them from office who were actually prepared to be honest about the problems they faced, like Suella Braverman. They're going to get the drubbing that they deserve. Nobody can save them. And by the way, that's not to say the Labour are going to be any better, but that is what's going to happen.
OK, so look, I said just now that there are many of you who voted Conservative in 2019, and I know a number of you who also intend to vote Conservative the next election. So in the interest of balance, because I know there's a lot of hands up of people who clearly want to have a go at the government, and we'll hear from you again as well. Is there anyone here who wants to speak up for Rishi Sunak or speak up for the government?
But yeah. Fiona, this is kind of my point. This isn't about Rishi Sunak. The point is, for the last 14 years, the Tories have failed to deliver on the things that... Forget about, whether Labour are happy with them. The problem is they have failed to deliver the things they promised their own electorate. And Rishi Sunak is not the problem. The problem is the Conservative Party.
OK, well, let's hear from the man here.
That was basically my point.
So, Fiona, you mentioned the terrible case in Nottingham. It's actually quite unrepresentative of the majority of knife crime in this country. It's a terrible case in which a paranoid schizophrenic was essentially allowed to walk free after being violent, after being diagnosed. By the way, a foreign citizen who should have been deported. I don't understand why he's still in this country. However, in terms of knife crime more broadly, I mean, yes, of course, we should ban zombie knives and machetes from being sold. But the truth is, the politicians won't tell you, is you're not going to out-police knife crime because it's not a police problem. It's not an issue of how many knives are being sold. We have the harshest knife laws we've ever had, and yet knife crime continues. And the reason is that the people who are stabbing each other are mostly young men who grow up in terrible, terrible backgrounds, mostly young men who don't have positive male role models in their lives, mostly because their fathers are not around to look after them and to guide them onto the right path. And until we address the terrible breakdown of family and community in this country, this problem is going to get worse.
Yesterday evening, I was watching the news with my 15-year-old, who luckily doesn't fall into the bracket you described, and he really expressed despair for the future. And I don't think anything he heard this evening would improve that. But the question is, what can we do to give hope for a better future for our children?
We can all do with that, I think. Sonia, we're in about 5 minutes. You have to be reasonably brief, though. So, Sonia, well, how do we create hope for a positive future for John's son and all the other young people?
I want us to crack our housing crisis because I think it's a blight for young people. It's fine if you've got parents with wealth who can help you get on the housing ladder. For some young people, there's no jobs in their local area. No jobs with prospects. They can't move to where the jobs are. The way I would do it, because I think we're about solutions now for your 15-year-old, is we used to have council housing in this country that people were proud to live in. After the Second World War, you know, between 1 in 3 and 1 in 4 people lived in council housing. We now call it social housing. That's the wrong term. It makes it sound like a handout. It's not a handout. It's decent housing for not-for-profit rent. It's rent that doesn't go to lining the pockets of landlords. Okay. We need public investment in housing again, and we need to give a guarantee. If I were the Labour government, we need to give a guarantee to people in their 20s. You will get a set number of years in affordable, good quality, rented housing.
You have to be quite brief, I'm afraid. Konstantin.
I think Sonia's absolutely right on a practical level, but I think at a cultural level there's something perhaps even more important, which is we've got to stop talking down our country. I'm a first-generation immigrant to this country, and I get annoyed hearing people talk endlessly about how we're the worst country in the world, we're the most sexist country in the world, we're the most racist country. It's all nonsense. This is one of the best places to live in the world, and that's what we should be talking about. The fact that we're... Shame on... Well, this is exactly the problem that I'm talking about. You are saying shame on you for talking up Britain, and that is exactly the problem that we're talking about.
Okay.
This is one of the best places to live in the world. For minorities like me, it's the best place to be a woman. It's
Can I just say, there's no point in shouting out for the audience because the people at home can't hear you. And also, let's try not to talk over each other. I asked Konstantin a question. In fairness, I have to let him answer.
So we've got to stop. We've got to stop talking down our country.
Okay.
We've got to stop shouting over people who are talking.
I've got 2 minutes left, and I have to let the rest of the panel answer. Let me just do that. Bronwyn.
We do something about housing, we do something about climate change, and we tell the young people, I've got a 21-year-old daughter, we tell them they're really, really nice people. It is a great generation that is coming.
Alex.
I think that there are grounds for hope, and it's a grounds for hope in a way that I think automatically appeals to young people, and that is in the white heat of technology that is coming. That you have the advances in artificial intelligence, in quantum computing, and
hang on, listen. Hang on, sorry. Hang on. I know you want to make your point. Well, it's just wait 1 second. I know you want to make your point, but we've been asked a question, and that's how this programme works. The panel answer the question asked by Craig. So, John, so that's what we're going to do. Please let the panel answer. Please let the panel answer the question. Alex, I'm sorry. Please let the panel answer the question. Alex.
But this new technology stands the chance of radically transforming our whole world by creating very cheap energy and the capacity to solve problems that we've never had the capability to do so before. And I think that that is really appealing to the next generation.
Jonathan, we've got about 30 seconds left, so...
We can turn the page after 14 years, but let me say this. Let me tell you this. The killing has to stop. We need a truce on humanitarian grounds immediately, and we need a ceasefire, a sustainable ceasefire. That's what we need now, and a Labour government will work towards the creation of a Palestinian state as part of a two-state solution. That is hope.
OK. All right. Listen, our hour is up. Thank you for all your questions. I just want to say thank you very much to Giovanna Pomiglio, who supplied the photographs here that you can see of where we are in Gillingham tonight. Thank you very much for all your questions. really appreciate you all coming here tonight. We are in Glasgow next week, and then, of course, we're in Nottingham.